Welcome to the This Week in Golf podcast, and we are talking about the Ryder Cup this week, and we'll talk a little LIV. LIV just finalized an event in Chicago that Bryson DeChambeau won. He's been on quite the hot streak the last few months as well. The PGA Tour has been basically, they're playing events. They're not the main events anymore, so people are just playing for status now to try to qualify for events for next year or elevated events for next year. But we've been out for about a month now, and the Ryder Cup is up. So Ryder Cup starts tomorrow, which is it starts at like 1 a.m. here. So I guess that's technically tomorrow, Friday, although it still feels like a Thursday. But anyway, so there's matches that go off at like 1 a.m, and then the second matches go off at like 6 a.m. Pacific time. So maybe it's a little better if you're on the East Coast. So a lot of this stuff is just going to be watched by tape, or maybe if I stay up late on Friday and Saturday night. Not tonight, but Friday I'll be up late. I like to go out, have some fun. But yeah, so that's all starting up. Just some notes on that. The last Ryder Cup, the U.S. dominated. All the headlines are the U.S. have not won in Europe in 30 years, 20 years. I don't know. It's been forever. And quite honestly, I don't think it's looking very good to win this time either. There's a lot been said about the teams and the making of the teams and who's on the teams and who's not on the teams. But on the eve of the tournament starting, that's all just water under the bridge. What are we going to keep talking about that forever? And the teams are set. This is what we're going in with. And to me, I just think the top of the European team is better. I think that Rory and Rahm and Victor Hovland, I think they can carry that team. Now, I think the U.S. is a deeper team, but they are playing in Europe. So you got to give the Europeans the home field advantage. The United States, because they won the last one, if there is a tie goes to the runner, or in this case, the previous winner. So the previous winner was the United States. And the reason we know that is because last weekend the women played the Solheim Cup, and it ended up tied 14-14. But the European team won because they had won the previous tournament. That's an interesting way that they do that. Seems to make sense that they could add some more excitement to what's already exciting in a playoff. But anyways, the European team has they have 13 lockers in their locker room. 12 players, and then they have a locker for Seve Ballesteros, and they have a poster of Seve before they're leading. So he is the emotional leader in the heavens above. So we'll see if that helps them out and motivates them to win. But it should be a good contest. Team golf. You'll hear a lot, the most exciting thing that happens in golf. People are into it. The fans will be into it. They'll be wearing, United States colors. They'll be in European regalia. Is that a word? It is. I don't think I'm saying that correctly. Anyways, but yeah, so European has the home field advantage, and the crowd's going to be boisterous and noisy, and the media is going to, be asking pointed questions to golfers. So this should be good. It'll be a good tournament, and we'll wrap it up next week as far as what happened. Having said that, this concept of team golf that LIV is trying to bring out, and can they build interest with the teams, with the team concept? And here we are last weekend with the Solheim Cup, this weekend with the Ryder Cup, and when we put it country against country, it seems pretty exciting. So maybe at some point LIV can build the team game to be that exciting as well. And that's really what they're going for. They're going to start releasing the schedule for next year. And the early indication is that there's going to be a lot of events outside of the United States. So an event in Spain, an event in England, an event in South Africa, one in potentially South Korea or one of the other Asian countries, and then Australia as well. So, and they did one in Mexico last year, so probably another one in Mexico. So what you're starting to see is not only the events in international and like more of a world tour, but what you're going to start seeing is, you know, when they play in South Africa, that South African team, I forget the name of it, but Oosthuizen and a few of the other guys are on it. That's going to be like their home course and their home event. So we'll see if they can build that team game. Same in England. Same when you go to Spain. In the United States, they'll probably have their own courses and own teams. I think that's kind of like their model as far as how they're going to recoup their investment in, I guess, merging the tour with Live and the PIF, which is interesting because a lot of that is that I get the feeling that a lot of behind the scenes stuff is going on right now, and that at some point they're going to drop, you know, all that news on us on a Friday or a Tuesday or whenever they drop news. So that's all coming down the pipe. So we'll see where that goes. One other thing with the Live event, they had it in Chicago last weekend. They're having one, I believe, in Saudi Arabia, and then the final event will be in Miami on October 21st, the weekend of the 21st. Now, that event they say is the team final, which I don't really know what that means. I guess maybe for the season final is in Saudi Arabia, and then the team final is going to be in Miami. I'm going to be in Miami that weekend, so I think I'm going to go. I applied for a media pass. I haven't heard back from them, so we'll see if I can get one. I mean, I run a podcast every week reporting on golf, so I'm hoping that I can get one. But either way, I'm going to go. And that gets me to one other thing I wanted to point out with Live versus the PGA Tour. It's the ticketing. And, you know, like for the Live event, you can get in, I think just a grounds pass is like $40, $45 for the day. Might even be $35. And then they have all these like seated options. So like you can get a, what do they call it? Like I think it's Club 54, which is on the 9th and the 18th hole. And you get in there and you get free food, not free food and beverage, but you get unlimited food and beverage during the tournament. And then you have a dedicated suite and seat to sit in and watch the tournament, your own bathrooms. And they have a lot of different options when you actually go on their website. Like they have obviously the options to like purchase a 10 pack or a 20 pack, you know, 20 tickets on a tent in a suite. But they also have all these options just as an individual that you can get. And they range anywhere from like $150 to like $700. So it's pretty cool. And I just wish the PGA Tour would do something like this because I'll give you two examples. One is I live in San Diego, La Jolla, in case you didn't see the sign. And I'm a regular at Torrey Pines. And so they have the tournament at Torrey Pines every year. And the problem with the tournament at Torrey every year is that on the 18th hole, they build all the suites around the green. And if you're not in a suite, there's like one little area on the right-hand side of the green where all the people kind of pile up. So unless you get there like 2 hours early, you're going to be like 150 yards away from the green watching the action. Okay, fine. But then you look up in the suites and they're freaking empty. They're empty by the end of the day on Saturday, because they finish the tournament on Saturday there. But by the end of the day, they're empty. They're all corporate suites and everybody's out of them at that hour. And it just kind of sucks. You know, it's like, well, what if I paid you $200? Could I get a seat in that suite? I don't need food and beverage or anything. I mean, if I have to pay $300, fine, I'll pay $300. I mean, I would like that. I think a lot of people would. And they could sell those seats at a premium and probably make more money. I'll have to do the math on it, but I wonder how many seats are in each suite and how much they're charging the corporate sponsor for that. What if they just sold them for $400 a ticket? Because that's what Liv did. Liv did that at the last tournament, the Chicago tournament. They built a stadium around the one of the par threes, and they were charging $700 a ticket for the stadium seating around the par three with unlimited food and beverage in your own bathrooms. So just something to think about. The second example is last year when Tiger was playing at Riviera, I actually went on the Riviera website and they did have some seating options. Actually, there was an option let me back up to Torrey Pines last year, We bought the Michelob Ultra tent, which is on the 9th hole, and it's unlimited beer and seltzer. You can buy food in there, your own bathrooms, your own seating area, kind of a deck area on the 9th tee. Very nice. So something like that. I think it was like $160 a ticket, maybe something around there, which was perfect. Because then you can like walk around the course, and then you have an area to go back to get your food and beverage, and like kind of be in your own little area with nice bathrooms. So it would be nice if they just did that on the 18th hole or even the 17th hole. But on the 9th hole, you're just on the tee box. It's not great as far as viewing. Yeah, so the other example then is Riviera. Last year when I went to Riviera, Tiger was playing, and I didn't want to deal with it so much, and I was just looking at like ticket options. And one of them was I ended up buying a seat on a grandstand on the 17th hole, 17th green, and I think it was about $150. No food and beverage, nothing like that, just a seat in the thing, and I had access to a few other areas like the clubhouse and stuff like that. So that was cool. So it would just be nice if more tournaments had that. Anyways, I digress. So let's just wrap it up. This week, we're going into the Ryder Cup. We'll see what's happening. I don't think that the U.S. is. I think Europe's going to win simply because they're at home and they're going to have a lot of energy. But this U.S. team's pretty good, and I do like Koepka on the team simply because he's kind of a red ass, and he's got the kind of personality that can go into a hostile environment and win. What's the other guy's name? Anyways, the guy that won the British Open. He stood in the face of all the Europeans when they were yelling at him that he was going to choke at the Open Championship, and he didn't blink once. So it's not Hatton. Terrell Hatton's the guy. He's got Brian Harman. So love Brian Harman. Love Brooks. I just think that Scheffler. I don't know. I mean, Scheffler's a good player, and I think, but I just for some reason can see like when I compare him to Hovland and Rahm, for some reason I just see those two guys beating him. But it's alternate shot, it's individual play, so we will see what happens. It's going to be exciting. Get your VCR, get your recorder ready and watch it on record, or just get up early and watch the damn thing. I mean, because let's see, Sunday morning it'll come on at 6 a.m. Pacific time, which means it's going to be finishing up around like 8:39 in the morning. So yeah, I'll get up early and watch the end of it for sure. And then we're on to football. So anyways, that is This Week in Golf. Chat with you next week when we go over the finals and what happened and how this whole thing played out. Hey, it's Jeremy Callahan, and thanks for listening to This Week in Golf. Make sure and hit subscribe so you can get all the latest news and analysis from Golf BPM.